For millions, America is a beacon of hope, a place to build a new life and pursue opportunity. But what happens when the very system meant to welcome you becomes a source of fear? Today, even green card holders and applicants find themselves suddenly detained, facing deportation. Imagine spending years building a life here, only to have it all threatened overnight. Under aggressive 2025 enforcement, a routine interview or minor mistake can trigger devastating consequences. These aren't distant headlines, they're happening to our neighbors and colleagues. The system's complexity means even small, unintentional errors can destroy lives. As we explore these stories, we must ask, is this the America we want? A place where the dream can so easily become a nightmare. For immigrants married to U.S. citizens, the green card interview is supposed to be a joyful milestone, a moment that marks the beginning of a new chapter in their lives together. It's a day many couples look forward to, filled with hope and anticipation for a secure future in America. The process is meant to secure their future, granting them the right to live, work, and build a life here without fear of separation or uncertainty. For many, it represents the fulfillment of a dream and the promise of stability. But in 2025, that promise has started to unravel, turning what should be a celebration into a potential trap for thousands of families. Increasingly, applicants arrive for their interviews only to be confronted by ICE agents instead of receiving the approval notices they hoped for. The fear is palpable, and the uncertainty is overwhelming. What was once a hopeful process now feels like an ambush, with every step inside the government building fraught with anxiety and doubt. If you skip the interview, you lose your chance at legal status and risk being separated from your loved ones. But if you attend, you face the very real possibility of detention and deportation, even if you've done everything right. This cruel catch-22 undermines trust in the system and preys on the most vulnerable, leaving families in a constant state of fear and uncertainty. The psychological toll is immense. What should be a moment of joy and relief has become a source of dread, anxiety, and sleepless nights for countless families. Even spouses of U.S. citizens are now told to weigh the risks carefully before stepping into a federal building, forced to consider whether the hope of a green card is worth the danger. Instead of a welcoming process, it's become a high-stakes gamble where the outcome is uncertain and the consequences can be devastating. The rules can change without warning, and the cost of losing is everything you hold dear: your family, your home, your future in America. This is not the system America promises to those who seek a better life. It's a system that now instills fear where there should be hope. What would you do if you had to make that impossible choice? Risk everything for a chance at belonging, or walk away from the dream you've worked so hard to achieve? Imagine the journey of Barbara Gomes Marques May, a Brazilian filmmaker who moved to Los Angeles in search of new opportunities and a better life. Like so many immigrants, she dreamed of building a future in the United States, contributing her talents and energy to her new community. After marrying a U.S. citizen, Barbara was determined to do everything by the book. She meticulously filed every required document, paid all the necessary fees, and spent months preparing for her green card interview, hoping to finally secure her place in the country she now called home. On the day of the interview, Barbara and her husband arrived at the government building filled with hope and excitement, expecting to celebrate the next step in their life together. But instead of congratulations, their world was shattered when ICE agents suddenly arrested Barbara right there in the office, turning a day of hope into a nightmare. Barbara had never broken the law. She was deeply involved in her community, volunteering and helping others, and was respected by everyone who knew her. Years before, a denied visa extension had resulted in a removal hearing notice, but that notice was sent to an old address, one Barbara had left behind, so she never even knew about the hearing. Because she missed that court date, through no fault of her own, an automatic deportation order was issued, quietly waiting in the system until her interview brought it to light. What seemed like a simple administrative mistake years ago had now become a hidden trap, threatening to destroy everything she had worked for. Her husband could only watch in disbelief and heartbreak as their shared dream unraveled before their eyes, powerless to help. Despite Barbara's clear eligibility for protection as a spouse of a U.S. citizen, the system chose to enforce the letter of the law rather than seek a fair resolution. It took a wave of public outcry and the direct intervention of a congresswoman to pause her deportation, though only temporarily, leaving her future uncertain. Barbara's ordeal is a stark warning. Even if you follow every rule, the system can still turn against you without warning, and your life can be upended in an instant. A single missed letter, a minor misstep from years ago, can come back to haunt you, threatening to erase years of hard work and hope. The message is clear. In today's immigration climate, simply following the rules is no guarantee of safety or justice. We must ask ourselves, does this look like justice? Or is it a system designed to punish even those who try to do everything right? Barbara's ordeal exposes a critical flaw, a system with zero tolerance for even the smallest human error. For immigrants, the stakes are unimaginably high, and the margin for error is razor thin. For most people, a lost piece of mail is a minor inconvenience, easily forgotten. But for immigrants, a single misplaced letter can mean the difference between safety and exile, between building a life and being forced to leave it all behind. An in absentia removal order, deportation for missing a court date, can be triggered by something as simple as a notice sent to the wrong address. The consequences are immediate and severe, often without warning. The system assumes that a notice sent is a notice received, ignoring the realities of frequent moves, language barriers, and bureaucratic confusion that many immigrants face every day. Immigrants must update their addresses with multiple agencies, each with its own rules and deadlines. One slip, one missed update can be catastrophic, setting off a chain reaction that's nearly impossible to stop. Even the most diligent applicants who try to follow every rule can be blindsided by notices sent to old homes or lost in the shuffle of daily life. The bureaucracy is a maze. One wrong turn, one misunderstood instruction, and your entire life can be upended in an instant. Navigating this system requires not just patience, but near perfection. Legal remedies do exist, but they're hard to win, expensive, and often come too late to prevent the damage. Many immigrants don't even know they have options until it's almost impossible to fight back. By the time many discover an old removal order, they're already in detention, separated from their families, and facing an uncertain future. The system demands perfection from those least equipped to deliver it, people navigating a new country, often in a new language with limited resources and support. Administrative oversights, missed deadlines, lost paperwork, or simple misunderstandings become life-altering catastrophes with consequences that ripple through entire families and communities. Is this the fairness we expect from our laws? Or is it a system that punishes the vulnerable for being human, for making mistakes anyone could make? In the end, we must ask ourselves, is this a system designed to protect or one designed to fail those who need it most? Now let's look at Mario Guevara, a respected journalist in Atlanta. For over a decade, he told his community's stories and built a life with his family after legally arriving from El Salvador. While covering a protest, Mario was arrested. Charges were dropped, but ICE was notified. An old, unresolved asylum appeal and the new arrest triggered his detention. Despite his contributions and fears for his safety in El Salvador, the courts denied his appeal. Mario was deported, leaving his family devastated. He was the only journalist detained by ICE that year. The court acknowledged his First Amendment rights, but prioritized paperwork over his safety. His case shows how technicalities can outweigh fundamental rights. When a journalist is deported for doing his job, what does that say about our values? Is this the country we want to be? Mario Guevara's deportation sends a chilling message to immigrant journalists. Press freedom advocates warn that his case is part of a broader pattern of intimidation. When covering protests leads to deportation, journalists may self-censor out of fear. This chilling effect threatens the First Amendment and weakens democracy. Mario wasn't a protester. He was documenting events for the public. His arrest, though charges were dropped, became the catalyst for his removal. This blurs the line between law enforcement and punishing the press. Immigrant journalists now face dual risks: threats to their safety and their right to stay. A minor infraction or being in the wrong place can end their American dream. Mario's story is a warning. Free speech and immigration enforcement are on a collision course. Barbara and Mario's stories are just the beginning. For every high-profile case, thousands more unfold in silence, spreading fear through entire communities. When even those following the rules are at risk, trust in the system collapses. Parents fear driving their kids to school. Workers hesitate to report abuse. Victims avoid police. This fear makes everyone less safe and erodes community bonds. Children live with constant anxiety, never knowing if their family will be torn apart. The emotional and financial toll is staggering as families fight to stay together. Aggressive enforcement destabilizes communities, driving people underground. Is this the price we're willing to pay for our current policies? Behind every policy are real people. Families shattered, dreams destroyed. Barbara's husband pleaded for his wife to be seen as a person, not a case file. Mario's children now grow up without their father, victims of a system that values paperwork over people. The trauma and fear ripple through entire communities. The system's one-size-fits-all approach ignores individual stories and inflicts deep wounds. It creates a permanent underclass, too afraid to live openly. These policies harm not just immigrants, but their American families and our society as a whole. We must ask, is this truly the best we can do? The stories of Barbara Mario and countless others reveal a system that's unpredictable and inhumane. It fails those who follow the rules, tears families apart, and betrays American ideals. Turning green card interviews into traps and deporting journalists for their work is a call for urgent reform. We need a system that's clear, consistent, and compassionate, not one that punishes honest mistakes. There must be protections for those acting in good faith and a clear separation between services and enforcement. Enforcement should focus on real threats, not hardworking families. This isn't about open borders, it's about common sense and decency. Do we want a country defined by fear or by hope and justice? The human cost is too high to ignore. The time for change is now, before another family is broken and another dream is lost.